Chapter 225 The Dark Beast with a Cursed Aura. Oi, breakfast. Sister Mew really is a nice person. She even bought you one. Hurry up and show your gratitude. Early in the morning, I-Tutu watched Mo Fan, who was in a daze from sleep, walk out of his room, and immediately mentioned the delicious breakfast to him. Mo Fan wasn't polite at all as he took it and ate it. You really do not have manners at all, I-Tutu said unhappily. How is your investigation on the shadow beast going? Mo Fan asked without thinking. I won't tell you. Don't you dare think about stealing our work. Let's put it this way. The shadow beast won't be able to escape from our hands. I-Tutu slapped her heavy chest as she said this. Actually, Mew Nujiao thought about it for a while as she said sincerely, I think the examination this time is not as simple as finding the shadow beast. What do you mean? Mo Fan asked. Currently, Mo Fan was not in the mood to find the shadow beast. The Black Vatican was already trying to lay its hands on him, and furthermore, had even involved Xu Jiaoting. Xu Jiaoting was taken away. No one knew whether he was alive or not. This was something Mo Fan was far more worried about right now. Dean Xiao said that once you took the shadow beast back to the Iron Beast cage, then you will have finished your mission. This also means that even if you were to catch the shadow beast, it does not mean you've completed your mission, Mew Nujiao said. Sister Mew, you're saying that the school doesn't care about who finds the shadow beast, nor do they care about who catches it, either. What they care about is who finally delivers the shadow beast back to the Iron Beast cage in the school. So, if someone were to catch the shadow beast, then it'd be like American football. They'd have to tackle every person they see. I-Tutu exclaimed. That is why before we catch the shadow beast, we need to consider that important factor, Mew Nujiao said. At the end of the day, the dark beast could just be an incentive. The students will still have to fight one another. I-Tutu suddenly yelled out. Mew Nujiao's analysis gave Mo Fan a sudden insight. So, all he needed to really do was to steal it? What was the point of wasting so much effort just to find the whereabouts of that shadow beast, anyway? After finishing his breakfast, Mo Fan headed for the hospital where Zhang Lulu was mending. Zhang Lulu's recovery was pretty good. The healing magician's magic was capable of completely healing wounds that weren't extremely deep. However, Zhang Lulu's mental state was relatively bad. She didn't want to eat anything, her eyes were extremely red. It was clear that she was worried about Xu Jiaoting. Mo Fan took her from the hospital back to her residence. He began to ask her why she was at that place. We were originally looking for students of other elements to form a squad to find the shadow beast. After Xu Jiaoting encountered someone in the bathroom, his face suddenly changed color. After which, we just followed that person, who seemed to be a student. After following him, we found a bunch of black things beside him. At that time, I wanted him to leave with me. However, he didn't listen to me, and began to pursue them further, Zhang Lulu said. A student? Mo Fan creased his brow. Could it be that the followers of Black Vatican had already penetrated into the Pearl Institute? Or did they already have a chess piece in Pearl Institute from the very beginning, so they could float along when they initiated a mission? Mo Fan believed that the latter was a higher possibility. Pearl Institute's administration was very strict. There is no way they would let the people from Black Vatican casually infiltrate. Oh, they said they were going to make a move on you. However, they were also afraid of the school and the magic court. Thus, they could only use a method that didn't easily expose their identity, Zhang Lulu said. A method that didn't easily expose their identity. Mo Fan began to think with his head lowered. I don't know the concrete details, Zhang Lulu said. Go rest up. I'll think of some way to find the location where they took Xu Jiaoting, Mo Fan said. We could notify the magic courts. Zhang Lulu said. Only the magic courts could truly hurt the Black Vatican as an organization. A normal person's strength was unable to fight against the Black Vatican, which controlled the dark beasts. We cannot for now. Once the magic court makes a move, and the members of the Black Vatican catch a whiff of it, then they might possibly give up their plan. Once they've chosen to retreat, then we can forget about ever finding Xu Jiaoting, Mo Fan said. Zhang Lulu did not say anything else. Right now, she really did not know what to do. When Mo Fan left, Zhang Lulu fell asleep. She was half asleep and half awake. When she was clear-headed, her head was filled with the scenes of those ugly, savage dark beasts. When she was asleep, those same creatures would appear in her dreams. From Zhang Lulu's perspective, there was nothing more scary or disgusting than the dark beasts. The stench that their bodies gave off felt as though it was still lingering around. Zhang Lulu opened her eyes, her gaze completely empty. The room was completely dark, and the curtain was half opened. The lamp outside of her room was shining on her rug. It was completely quiet. An odor? Zhang Lulu woke up so fast it was almost painful. Her body felt as though someone had poured cold water over her. Heavens, why did her room have this kind of smell? In the beginning, it was just Zhang Lulu's own hallucination. However, after she took a sniff, she was able to tell that it really was that smell in this place. Clank! Suddenly, the sound of something being hit came from the corridor. Zhang Lulu was so scared that her soul almost left her body. She immediately jumped down from her bed as she charged out of her room in her bare feet. She ran toward the roof of the building. The odor was increasingly heavy, and it came with the sound of footsteps below. Zhang Lulu followed the little crack between the staircases as she headed upstairs, when she saw a group of strange shadows moving. It's those creatures. Zhang Lulu didn't dare to hesitate as she raced toward the roof of the building. She was clear that if she stayed inside her room, she'd definitely die. If she made it to the roof, she could use the roof of the other buildings to escape. After charging to the roof, there was not a single person to be seen in the dead of the night. There were only these rooftops that had all kinds of things on them. Just as she made it to the water reservoir on the roof, the wooden door to the rooftop was smashed open. In a moment, 3 or 4 dark beasts charged upstairs. They licked their sharp teeth as a greedy green light blossomed in their eyes. They emitted a stench that made people feel extremely disgusted. Goo 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 goo. Just when Zhang Lulu was about to jump to the roof of another building, she suddenly realized that there was a dark beast whose body was engulfed in a cursed aura standing there. This dark beast looked incredibly ugly. It was because its face seemed to have a skin that had yet to rot adhered to it. You could even see the fresh blood there. Zhang Lulu almost fainted. She was now unable to run anywhere. Goo 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 goo. The small group of dark beasts that pursued her to the roof did not immediately take action. They were vigilantly watching the dark beast enveloped in a cursed aura. The cursed dark beast slowly passed by Zhang Lulu. Its red eyes carried hostility, anger, and its mouth let out a hoarse and dreadful shout. The cursed dark beast's objective was not Zhang Lulu, it was the small group of dark beasts. Zhang Lulu was dumbfounded. When she saw the cursed dark beast began to charge the small group of dark beasts, she found it hard to believe. They aren't together? Chapter 226 Personally kill her. The dark beast with the cursed aura charged toward one of the rather smaller ones. Its speed was clearly much faster than the average dark beast. Before the smaller dark beast could even react, the cursed one had already grabbed onto its 4 limbs. Not only was it faster, but in terms of strength, the cursed dark beast was also much stronger. The new dark beast was filled with power as it ripped the smaller dark beast in two. The mixed flesh was being torn apart, and the sound of bones breaking was audible. The little dark beast was torn apart by the cursed one. Black blood splattered all over the ground. Goo goo goo. The other few dark beasts were scared to death, cowering as if they wanted to run away. The cursed dark beast's gaze turned around as its sharp black claws suddenly crisscrossed. A black claw shredded the wall as it flew along one of the dark beasts that was fleeing a bit too slowly. Once the black claws reached the dark beast, its movement came to an abrupt stop. A very clear X mark emerged on its body, and it was divided into several pieces along the lines. The cursed dark beast seemed extremely savage. Even though it saw the 4 other dark beasts running away, it did not plan on letting them off the hook. It was massacring them. The pain it displayed in its eyes only seemed to be relieved by the killing. Bang! Cold moonlight illuminated the roof. A sturdy dark beast was thrown into the water reservoir right next to Zhang Lulu. It splashed limply as it hit, causing the water to slowly flow out. In the moonlight, this was even more shocking to see. After killing them all, the cursed dark beast raised its head as it roared. This sound could be heard very vividly in these streets. It scared some of the drunkards that were still wandering around in the evening, and they fell to the ground. At the side of the water reservoir, Zhang Lulu had already gone completely lifeless. These bloody scenes had happened right in front of her. The bloody remains were everywhere. She imagined that this would be her doom very soon. She was unable to move. She was even unable to bring out the star path that she was so skilled at, and drawing a star atlas was even more out of question. The cursed dark beast in front of her, covered in the blood of its kin, was extremely strong. It was so strong that Zhang Lulu couldn't do anything to fight against it. After it roared, the cursed dark beast turned around. Its face was covered in black blood, and could only be described with one word: pain. Pain occupied the face of the dark beast, like it had lost all of its other emotions. Furthermore, the only thing you could see in its eyes was resentment and savagery. Zhang Lulu didn't dare to look into the eyes of this monster, but her legs didn't listen to her as they began to go soft. The cursed dark beast was not planning on killing her in the same way as it had killed its kin. It walked toward her with slow steps, but at the same time, it seemed to be struggling with something as the steps it took also retracted. Zhang Lulu's head was completely empty. She also did not know why this cursed dark beast wasn't moving any faster. With its strength, it could easily kill her. "What? You don't want to make a move?" someone spoke up. On this originally empty roof emerged a man who seemed extremely suspicious. Zhang Lulu immediately turned her head and realized that a man wearing half a mask was standing to the side of the roof in the moonlight. When did he appear? Or could it be that he was always there? Before he made a noise, she did not notice him there at all. "You really surprised me. Refining a cursed dark beast is a very difficult thing. It doesn't just require a physique that is already extremely strong, it also requires the soul to be filled with hatred and resentment. Who would have thought that someone like you, from a good university, would accumulate so much resentment? You are really suitable for joining our Black Vatican, to be our killing slave. If you want to run, then forget about it. The soul and slavery of our Black Vatican is something that even the Parthenon temple cannot resolve," the man with half a mask called out in ridicule. "Goo goo goo goo." The cursed dark beast let out sounds as it struggled furiously. Unfortunately, its soul was locked by incorporeal shackles. These shackles were made by the half-masked man, and no matter how much more hatred it had, it was unable to do any attack on that person. Zhang Lulu stood there, but she was unable to understand what they were saying. "Originally, your transformation was something that made me very excited. I could perhaps give you lenient treatment, but you decided to run away and kill so many of your kin. Thus, as a punishment, the half-masked person displayed a horrifying smile as his eyes looked at Zhang Lulu like she was livestock. He slowly commanded, "Go rip her apart. Kids like to split things apart as a game, and you are no different from a newborn child to me. This girl will be your play toy. You can rip her apart any way you want." Zhang Lulu's face turned pale. After the half-masked man said these words, Zhang Lulu shuddered all over. Goo 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 goo. The cursed dark beast was extremely angry as it roared toward the half-masked man. "You even dare to raise your voice to me? Are you tired of living?" The half-masked man took out a black whip from inside his windbreaker. This whip was as thick as an arm. When it whipped toward the cursed dark beast was actually unable to avoid it. Crack! After the whip landed on the cursed dark beast, a bloody mark appeared on its back. "Go, kill her," the half-masked man yelled. With its eyes turned red, the cursed dark beast began to walk toward Zhang Lulu. The cursed aura and the overpowering stench immediately swept over Zhang Lulu. She was so scared that she fell onto the floor, her face filled with tears of fear. "I told him before, I will make you wish you were dead," the half-masked man said sinisterly. The cursed dark beast was getting closer and closer to Zhang Lulu, its claws seemed to be lifting up. However, its arm was also trembling. The rotting, pained face began to distort. Finally, its claw struck toward its own shoulder. A deep wound immediately sank into its flesh. It seemed to want to sever its arms as a sound came from the very depths of its throat. "You are unable to resist my orders. Kill her and your pain will be relieved. The more sins the soul of a dark beast carries, the stronger it will become, and the more it will be able to resist the torment of the soul in slavery. Quickly, kill her." The man with half a mask roared out his orders, even as he smiled. Killing this girl was something very easy for Yuang. However, he wanted to watch Xu Jiaoting, who he had turned into a cursed dark beast, kill her. Chapter 227 The Cursed Xu Jiaoting. Golden Origin Apartments. Mo Fan was standing by the balcony with a phone in his hand. "Ms. Tang Yue, you finally contacted me." Mo Fan's face displayed a smile. "I'm currently in Hangzhou, I can't leave. Are you all right? I received some information that the Black Vatican are moving in Shanghai." "They are all charging toward you," Tang Yue said impatiently. "I'm all right. I only encountered a group of small dark beasts, and I killed them all, Mo Fan said. That's a bit too reckless of you. If something were to happen, the methods of the Black Vaticans are extremely cruel. If you ever land in their hands, then you will most likely be turned into a monster by them. Thus, you must be extremely careful, Tang Yue said solemnly. What monster? Mo Fan asked, feeling slightly confused. The dark beasts. Dark beasts? Aren't they magical beasts? Mo Fan didn't understand. Actually, Mo Fan had always been a bit suspicious about this. It seemed like the people from the Black Vatican were able to command the dark beasts. The only people who should be able to command magical beasts should be summoners. There's no way that all of the people in the Black Vatican were summoners, right? They aren't magical beasts, they are people, living people. Tang Yue told him. What? Mo Fan was shocked. Living people? Those dark beasts were living people? They are all living people whose souls have been cursed. That is the most dreadful secret technique of the Black Vatican, Tang Yue said. Xu Jiaoting was caught, Mo Fan said grimly. Tang Yue went silent. Xu Jiaoting was also Tang Yu's student. How could she not know about him? However, Tang Yue was currently powerless. The magic court was currently unable to make a big move. Once they made a move, this Black Vatican group would run away from the inescapable net they had set. Furthermore, Xu Jiaoting had already been caught by them. The possibility of him being alive was slim. Ms. Tang Yue, I need to go check out Zhang Lulu. If Xu Jiaoting was turned into a dark beast, then that would signify they already know Zhang Lulu's residence, Mo Fan said. Zhang Lulu? Who's that? It's Xu Jiaoting's girlfriend. Xu Jiaoting lost all of his family during the disaster at Bo City, leaving only him behind. His girlfriend has been with him this entire time. I believe that Zhang Lulu should be the most important person to Xu Jiaoting. I cannot let anything happen to her. Mo Fan suddenly realized something as he hurriedly hung up the phone. After rushing downstairs, Mo Fan couldn't care about the regulations where they forbade summoning beasts, and he directly summoned his spirit wolf. He had the spirit wolf charge toward Zhang Lulu's residence. The road in the evening was spacious and free. His spirit wolf was directly running on the road. All kinds of traffic rules meant nothing to this wild beast. The light of the moon was cold. The cold wind was turning increasingly chill as it blew onto their faces like sharp knives. Zhang Lulu was in disbelief as she looked at the rotting face in front of her. She was in even more disbelief as she looked into those eyes filled with evil and hatred. This is Xu Jiaoting? This is Xu Jiaoting? Her eyes began to bulge so much that they nearly popped out. Her tears began to fall again. The pain in her heart had already caused Zhang Lulu to forget about the long claws that had pierced into her. At this moment, she finally understood why this cursed dark beast killed off all those dark beasts that were pursuing her. She also understood why it tried to resist making a move on her, and that it was actually protecting her before. However, the blood was flowing quickly, and with it her life. In the process of the claws penetrating through her heart, she was no longer scared. It was at least better than being killed by those dirty things. Ha ha, ha ha ha. I've told you that you can't control yourself. As your master, I am benevolent enough to give you guys some time to say your last words. However, you must be quick or else her blood will run dry. No matter what you say by that time, she won't be able to hear you. Oh, you can only goo 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 goo. I guess you won't be able to express anything with that. The man with the mask seemed to be really enjoying this. He swept his long windbreaker around with an abnormally savage smile before he disappeared from the rooftop. Ta-ta-ta. A large pool of blood began to splash onto the rooftop. The cursed beast stood there stiffly, his face displaying an expression that could no longer be described with pain. Roar! His throat looked like it was going to explode as he roared frantically. Since he had already opened his mouth, he took a bite at his wrist. Gah! He bit off his wrist, like he wanted to bite his most hated person to death. He bellowed in rage. His expression was twitching fiercely as his hoarse shout continuously reverberated on the rooftop. The black liquid from his eyes didn't stop as they hung around his twitching face. He frantically bit his body as he ripped at his skin. He used his killing claws to tear himself apart. At this moment, the hatred at what he had become had already exceeded everything. Within the black shadows, a man came out as though stepping out of a different world. He stepped onto the rooftop that was filled with black blood and remains of limbs. His black eyes were currently looking at the person that leaving behind red blood. Half of her body was in the water reservoir, and on her chest was a severed hand. The claws on that hand had penetrated deeply into her body. Her pale face looked as though she wasn't in much pain. It could only mean that she had not died while experiencing fear and despair. Next to the girl was a squatting creature covered in bruises. Its eyes were continuously watching over this girl that had already passed away. It was crying bitterly. A creature that was not a ghost nor human crying was very different from how a normal human would cry. However, Mo Fan knew that it was crying. Mo Fan took a deep breath as he slowly walked toward him. "I'm sorry, I came too late." Mo Fan looked down at the cursed dark beast. He was Shu Jiaoting. Mo Fan was very clear that he was Shu Jiaoting. There was no other dark beast that would stay on guard over the corpse of a girl as it was displaying such extreme pain. When Mo Fan saw Shu Jiaoting's right hand was bitten off, his grievance became like a spring as it bubbled forth. Shu Jiaoting slowly raised his despairing face. At this moment, the him that still retained some of his human traits recognized Mo Fan. He suddenly used his claws to split open his belly, and slowly took something out of his stomach. Mo Fan was a bit suspicious as he took the thing that Shu Jiaoting had drawn out from inside himself. After wiping away the filth on it, Mo Fan was immediately dumbfounded. This was a strip of leather. There were clear scratches on the leather, and he was able to see that this was a name in the moonlight. "It's the name of the Blue Deacon." Shu Jiaoting found the name of that Blue Deacon. Tang Yue exclaimed earnestly over the phone. "What's the point of a name?" Mo Fan asked. "Most of the people from the Black Vatican have an honorable identity in society. This name is the name that the Blue Deacon uses to deceive others. Actually, according to our guess, the mastermind behind the actions against you is most likely a student of Pearl Institute. It's just we don't know his name. The objective of our mission this time was precisely this Blue Deacon, and his name is an important clue. The Blue Deacons are those who have direct contact with the Red Cardinal Salin. We now have hopes to find Salin with this Blue Deacon," Tang Yue stated grimly. "In that case, you must hurry and tell your superiors. Also, is there any way to turn Shu Jiaoting back?" Mo Fan held his phone as his gaze swept toward Shu Jiaoting, who was still squatting over the dead Zhang Lulu. Chapter 228 I'll take vengeance for you. The goddess of Parthenon Temple could perhaps help him. But from what I know, the 12 female candidates of the Parthenon Temple have all been murdered. Thus, the position of the goddess is still vacant, Tang Yue told him. In that case, there is no hope whatsoever? Although Mo Fan did not know who Tang Yue was talking about, according to Tang Yu's tone, the chances of Shu Jiaoting turning back were basically non-existent. The cruelty of the Black Vatican truly made one's hair stand up in anger. "Go take care of him. I've some things to do," Tang Yue replied. "All right." After hanging up, Mo Fan realized Shu Jiaoting had already raised his head to look at Mo Fan. Goo goo goo. Shu Jiaoting extended his other, perfectly fine claws as he let out a strange sound at Mo Fan. "What do you want to say?" Mo Fan tried to understand. Goo goo goo. Shu Jiaoting pointed at Mo Fan, and then pointed at the location of his heart. "You want me to end your life?" Mo Fan was stunned. Shu Jiaoting nodded. "I'll take you to the magic court. I'll have them temporarily take control of you and find a way to turn you back," Mo Fan said sincerely. Shu Jiaoting shook his head. Now that Zhang Lulu had left this world, his appearance had turned into this, and even let that freak Yu Ang treat him like a slave to continuously hurt people. He might as well end his life now. Shu Jiaoting was unable to finish his own life. As his soul was enslaved, he was unable to personally kill himself. That's why he begged Mo Fan to take action. Dying would be like a form of relief, especially when it was from the Black Vatican. Mo Fan didn't move. How could he possibly take action? Shu Jiaoting realized that Mo Fan wasn't making a move, so he suddenly kneeled down. He used his bloody head, continuously banging it against the floor. He was begging Mo Fan. He didn't want to continue living like this. He didn't want to be forced to kill someone. He believed that every time he had to kill someone, he would be reminded of the incredible pain today. He wanted to break free from all this. Perhaps he could even meet the departed Zhang Lulu on the road of the Yellow Springs. Mo Fan once again called Tang Yu's phone. He wanted to confirm whether there was a different way. However, the only thing that Tang Yue gave him was despair. Do what he wants, let him feel at peace. Tang Yu's voice was gloomy. Mo Fan looked at the Shu Jiaoting, who was continuously kowtowing to him. Within his heart, a blaze of fire ignited. Finally, Mo Fan nodded. He displayed his agreement to Xu Jiaoting's request. Rose-colored flames condensed within Mo Fan's palm. It was burning as it began to jump around. The reflection of the flames could be seen on Mo Fan's resolute face, and was also reflected on Xu Jiaoting's bleeding and rotting face. As he looked at Xu Jiaoting, Mo Fan couldn't help but recall the opening ceremony of Tianlan Magic High, and the lightning student that took away the breath of the entire school. In that moment, he was incomparably dazzling. Whenever he looked at Mo Fan, his face would carry a sense of arrogance. After all, he was the sole lightning elemental student of the school. At least, that's what he thought. You can leave without regrets. Mo Fan took a deep breath. He felt a sharp prick in his throat. The rose flames finally rolled from the crack of his fingers. They looked like a holy serum as they poured down over the head of Xu Jiaoting. The temperature of the flames was extremely high. While the rose flames were burning his body, they also stretched to the body of Zhang Lulu by his side. Xu Jiaoting, his body completely covered in flames, hugged Zhang Lulu tightly. The flames were burning ferociously. Mo Fan didn't want Xu Jiaoting to suffer from the pain of the fire, and he made the flames burn even faster as he quickly ended Xu Jiaoting's life. From the bright red flames, a few petals floated up. They turned into a hot, sacred burial ceremony. The fires quickly turned Xu Jiaoting and Zhang Lulu into black dust. During this entire process, Mo Fan had his back turned on them. The cold moonlight sprinkled over the lonely rooftop. The bright light from the flames stretched Mo Fan's shadow out before him. At this moment, Mo Fan's fist was tightly clenched. With the cremation of Zhang Lulu and Xu Jiaoting, the flames within Mo Fan's chest turned increasingly fierce. It was almost as though it would burn the air around him. He stiffly raised his hand and put the mobile next to his ear. With his voice extremely serious, he asked, "Ms. Tang Yue, you previously mentioned that the main ringleader behind the operation this time was hiding within Pearl Institute, right?" "Yeah, unfortunately, we don't know his name. Unless we got the information from Xu Jiaoting, we'd have to wait for them to expose themselves. What if I gave them an opportunity to make a move on me?" Mo Fan asked sincerely. "If the underground holy spring really is in your hands, then they will make a move, even if there is a risk to it." Tang Yue said, "All right, I'll give them an opportunity to make a move on me." "What are you going to do?" "Ms. Tang Yue, please hurry and locate the Blue Deacon. I'll take care of the one in Pearl Institute," Mo Fan said. After saying this, Mo Fan hung up the phone. The flames behind him were slowly starting to die out. Only at this time did Mo Fan dare to turn his body around. Seeing the bone ashes mixed together, Mo Fan's gaze turned extremely cold. "The two of you, you can leave without worry. I, Mo Fan, will take your vengeance for you." "Ling Ling, have you found the location of the shadow beast?" Mo Fan asked. "Why does it feel like I've become your servant? Even though I am in Hangzhou, I still have to help you find clues in Shanghai." All right, it's very difficult for me to find the shadow beast. However, to find the person who caught it won't be a difficult matter. The shadow beast has landed in the hands of someone called Shen Mingxiao," Ling Ling said. "Help me find them." "No problem." Ling Ling heard Mo Fan's tone. It felt like a volcano that was about to erupt. Although Ling Ling didn't understand why it was so urgent for him to find the shadow beast, she would help him however she could. "I've found them. They are in the warehouse of an express delivery to the south of Pearl Institute." The efficiency of Ling Ling's work was very high. A great hunter that specialized in following clues and locating was indeed better than your normal one. "All right, in 2 hours, help me spread a message. Tell them that I, Mo Fan, will take the shadow beast to the beast iron cage in the early morning. I want you to guarantee that every single person who participates in this examination knows of it." Mo Fan said, "What are you doing?" "I'm pulling a snake from its hole." Mo Fan wanted to find the scoundrel that caused the death of Xu Jiaoting and Zhang Lulu. Since he couldn't find their identity before they exposed themselves, then he could only throw out a big net. When the shadow beast was in his hands, then all of the participating students would make a move on him. This included that member of the Black Vatican. He could even use the shadow beast as a cover-up for his real objective. However, Mo Fan would definitely uncover him. He definitely would not let him go, definitely won't.